Alright, welcome back guys, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today we're coming back at you with another Walking Dead Wednesday related video. And today for Walking Dead Wednesday, I'm going to be doing my bottom 8 worst episodes of The Walking Dead Season 8. So if The Walking Dead is something you're interested in, something you want to know my thoughts on, see my reviews, don't forget to hit subscribe down below and hit the bell icon, that way you don't miss any future Walking Dead related videos. Now let's begin. Coming in 8th and last place is episode 14, Still Gotta Mean Something. Now, if I had done a top 10 list for the best episodes, this probably would have been on it. However, this is reserved to this list just due to the simple fact that I feel like there's not much that happened other than the Rick and Morgan stuff and Jared. I feel like this episode can somewhat be forgettable other than those few moments and scenes at the dive barn. So for that reason, I gotta reserve it here. It did have some great stuff like the death of Jared and Morgan and Rick stuff. But just for the sheer fact that there wasn't other memorable moments, I had to put it here on this list. This wasn't at all a horrible or bad episode. It just wasn't that memorable for me. But like I said, if I had done a top 10 best episodes of Season 8, it probably would have been on that list. Again, this isn't a horrible episode. It just, there wasn't enough substance to it to make it a great episode to put on the other list. But other than that, I think it did have some good character development for Morgan and Rick, and also showed us some interesting stuff with the Saviors. Other than that, I think it was a decent episode, just not enough bite to contain a great episode. But moving on to some of the more worst episodes, we got in 7th place, we got episode 10, The Lost and the Plunderers. Now, this is an episode that I like with Still Gotta Mean Something. I had a tough time placing it, because it wasn't a bad episode, but it just not. I feel like this, after coming off the previous episode and everything that went on in that episode of Carl's death, this kind of felt a little out of place. Yes, I get we need those slower episodes, but it just, I don't know. Yes, we got the death of and massacre of all the junk people, which I didn't really care much for, other than maybe Jadis. Even then, it was somewhat not that exciting of an episode. The Simon stuff was interesting. Other than that, it was a kind of a poor episode, and then them jumping back and forth between characters felt very forced to me, especially when they jumped back to Enid, and it just felt like it wasn't necessarily needed, and just felt like they needed to play it out that way. It just, the flow of the episode just felt disrupted due to that, the whole storytelling. So for that reason, I just gotta put it here, along with not much happening other than we see that Simon going down that dark path and the death of Jadis. Still not enough for me to put it on one of the greatest or best episodes of the season. It just, I feel like they needed something more and structured the episode better to make it a good episode. So for those reasons, it's on my worst episodes. Coming in 6th place would be episode 15, Worth. Now this was an interesting episode because we're right on the heels of the finale, yet they chose to do a slow-paced episode, which didn't really do much for me. You had Rosita going to confront Eugene, taking him captive, which could have been a really interesting storyline, but it felt very poor the way the execution of that storyline went. I feel like they could have had him tied up, had a very interesting confrontation between him and Rosita. However, it just flowed very poorly and just felt like a filler episode. And then you got the stuff of Erin and Oceanside. Again, nothing was done right there. Also, to the point in the next episode, when Oceanside and Erin do show up, they literally are on screen for maybe 5 seconds and say not one line of dialogue. So it felt like a waste of time to have that all play out. So for those two reasons alone, I feel like they dropped the ball a bit on this episode, where they could have had some great, amazing stuff happen, but it just felt like a filler episode right before we get the explosive finale, which in my opinion didn't turn out the way it should have, but that's my opinion. Again, I feel like this had potential to be a great episode. It just kind of dropped the ball. And then you got the Simon death in this episode, which I was happy that Simon died. I know a lot of people are mad about that. I was happy that he died. I just wish it was at the hands of one of our heroes and survivors, not at the hands of Negan. It never made sense to me that Simon died at the hands of Negan. I feel like he should have died at either the hands of Maggie or at the hands of someone from Oceanside. I think that would have been a great way to have him go out. And since he got killed by Negan, this is that. Those are three reasons why. Now you got the Eugene storyline that went nowhere, the Oceanside story that was meaningless, and then the death of Simon that was done by the wrong character, in my opinion. For those three reasons alone, this episode got onto the bad list, just because I feel like it was a filler episode right before the finale. But leave your thoughts and opinions. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this episode. Do you think it's a bad episode, or do you think it's a good episode and should be on the best episodes list? So leave those thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Coming in fifth place, we got episode 5, The Big Scary You. Now, this is an interesting one for me, because, they had some good stuff with the Dwight and Simon and the lieutenants. However, the Father Gabriel and Negan's stuff kind of came off a little weak to me. I feel like I wish they had saved that for Negan and Rick's speech, but since we now know that Rick's dying, we kind of can see why they did it this way. It just felt weak and unnecessary, and I don't know, it just feel like if they had spread it out between so many episodes, it would have come off a little bit better, but I guess they needed to rush some storyline so we could get where we needed to be for the mid-season finale, and for that reason, this episode just came off as weak, somewhat unnecessary, and I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, because I feel like some people might like this episode, but so leave your own opinions on it, because I feel like I'd love to get some inside fall onto this, and let me know however people feel, because I feel like this had potential to be a good episode, just kind of fell short of it. So leave those thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Coming in next in fourth place would be episode 11, Dead or Alive. Or now this was a episode. This is where we're getting more into some of the things that I didn't like about the season, because you got the entire episode was just Daryl and them getting to Hilltop, which I feel like could have been handled off camera. We really didn't need to see them traveling to Hilltop. In my opinion, it was just done, in my opinion, to fill the space and to drag out the season a bit more. Some of the Dwight stuff was okay. It just, I don't know, it felt like this is an episode where I feel like I could take it or leave it, in the sense that it did okay, but it just felt like if we take it out of the whole out of the season as a whole, you probably wouldn't miss much either. So for those reasons, I feel like it just wasn't necessary for the season, and just could have been glossed over as like them talking and saying this is what happened in this episode at the start, and pick it up where episode 12 did, maybe. I don't know. For those reasons, I feel like this episode just kind of felt weak and just necessarily didn't need to exist. But they probably did it just to save money so we could get some more stuff down the line. But still, I just wish they had done something different, and just, I don't know, maybe done something where the story actually moved instead of just having them walk through the woods. Because that's pretty much what they did the entire episode. But leave your thoughts and opinions about this episode. Did you like it? And how do you feel? Was it one of the best, or was it one of the worst episodes? So leave those thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Coming in next in third place would be episode 6, The King, the Widow, and Rick. Now this was another bad episode for me. Just for the main parts of, like, one, Carl's bitten off camera. That was my biggest problem with the episode. And then Rick going to the garbage people to try to get them to join him, which we all knew wouldn't work. And it just felt like a bunch of filler stuff that necessarily didn't need to happen. And I just wished, again, they had done something different. Again, there was some good stuff with Carl and Siddiq. It just didn't go anywhere since Carl died. And it just felt like a waste of time. Could have been done something different and a little bit more exciting. I don't know. Just for those simple reasons, this is one of the more worst episodes, because nothing really happened in the episode. It was just a bunch of, them doing stuff. And then you got the other group planning to take out the sanctuary without consulting the rest of the group, which was stupid in my opinion. So for those reasons, it just came off as filler and dumb and unnecessary. And I just wish, like I said earlier, they had combined 6 and 5. If they had done that, maybe it would have been a better episode, and they could have had half of 5 and half of 6 being the first part, and then the second half of 5 and the second half of 6 be in episode 6. You know what I mean? If you can understand what I'm trying to tell you. But I think that would have worked out a little better and kind of moved the story in a better way and not made these episodes feel like a bunch of filler. But leave your thoughts, opinions, like I said, in the comment section down below, because I'd like to know your thoughts and how you feel about these certain episodes of Season 8 of The Walking Dead. Coming in at second place would be episode 12, The Key. Now, this is, I don't know, I had a tough time placing it, whether it should be at first or second. The thing that put it a little bit higher was the stuff with Georgie. However, I feel like that necessarily never needed to happen, and we'll probably never see Georgie again. She was just a plot device so they could get their stuff, which I didn't really like. They could have just found it during a time skip, and Eugene could have built everything. I feel like she was just used for plot device. That's kind of why it's here. If they hadn't used her for plot device and if she sticks around, or if she did stick around, I don't think they're bringing her back. But if they do, then maybe this will be a better episode. But it just felt unnecessary. And then the Rick and Negan stuff, again, another pointless stuff. Like, yes, they needed a way for Simon to take control of the Saviors and attack in the next episode. But I feel like this was pointless. Like, I don't know, like the standoff between Rick and Negan. We all know Negan wasn't gonna die at the end of the episode. We just needed him to get away be separated and not be anywhere near the hilltop when it was attacked. And it just felt like they could have done something a little bit different. It just didn't gel right to me. And then you got the Simon and Dwight stuff. That was probably some of the more better stuff, but still came off as slow paced and a little bit boring. And then you got some other things that just were nitpicking, like the bat being set on fire. We knew Lucille wasn't being destroyed. It's probably just plot device for her to be destroyed by Beta in season 9 or 10. And then you got when they didn't even show the cars getting like flipped over. That annoyed me too. And then Negan having his Lucille in the bucket of guts, and then when he gets out of the car after it flips, he's completely clean. He should be covered in guts. It doesn't make any sense, and it just really frustrated me a lot. I feel like it had potential, but again, it's just weak storytelling, and just I feel like they needed a reason to have Negan not be there, so they kind of made this one up out of thin air, and it just didn't come out right to me. But leave your thoughts and opinions on this episode in the comment section down below. Coming in first place and taking the cake as one of the worst episodes of the season would have to be episode 7, Time for After. Now, between Daryl's dumb decision to attack the sanctuary and drive the truck through with Tara and them was stupid. You had them negotiating, some of them leaving and backing out. Stupid and waste of time. Dwight and Eugene's conversation was something, but it just didn't last long enough to actually have some substance to it. And then you got the garbage people and Rick. And no pun intended, but that was garbage. The stuff at the trash heap was trash. It was pointless and unnecessary. We could have just had them agree, come to an agreement, and shake on it, and then head over to the sanctuary. It could have been that easy. And for that reason, this is the worst episode of the season. But leave your own thoughts and opinions. Give me your list of the top 8 or 10 worst episodes of the season. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions and have a nice, lively, and polite discussion in the comment section. So leave those thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, those are my top 8 worst episodes of The Walking Dead Season 8. Next week, I'll be ranking all 8 seasons from worst to best. And if you have a suggestion for a Walking Dead Wednesday video you'd like to see me do in the future, let me know in the comment section down below, and I might pick your suggestion in a future video. And don't forget to like and share this video, and hit the subscribe button down below, and hit that bell icon. That way you don't miss any future videos of The Walking Dead moving forward. This has been Vision here with Bryant Entertainment, and I will see you next time.